Now, just to emphasize how irrelevant politics is, I'll tell you for why. Well, there are many for whys, but here's one. What you do is you have them tell you in an election campaign what they're going to do. And you think, oh, yeah, I like that. I'm going to vote for them. And then they get into power and they do not what they told you they do, but what they plan to do all along. And there's a wonderful example of that this week on many fronts, actually, of Robert Kennedy Jr. And here's the first one. Remember, Robert Kennedy Jr. has done some great work, I'm the first to admit it, exposing vaccines and their dangers over many years. And then he becomes the basically head of health care in the Trump administration and flips. Bait and switch, bait and switch. So here's the headline. And in fact, it's a headline on an article he actually wrote for Fox News. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., measles outbreak is call to action for all of us. MMR vaccine is crucial to avoiding potentially deadly disease. Well, measles rarely kills. And I remember when I was growing up that measles, like other childhood diseases, were welcomed because they kick-started the immune system. And, you know, people talk about the fact that if some kid in the street got measles, they would get all the other kids together so that they got the same, the idea anyway, because they wanted them to have this immune system kickstart from a childhood disease. And all that's gone now because you have to get them vaccinated, you see. And this is Kennedy's own words. As the Secretary of the US Department of Health and Human Services, I am deeply concerned about the recent measles outbreak. The situation has escalated rapidly, with the Texas Department of Health Services reporting 146 confirmed cases since late January 2025. It was par for the course when I was growing up. And it was far more than 146 cases. So he goes on, vaccines not only protect individual children from measles. That's not what you said before, Mr. Kennedy. But also contribute to community immunity, protecting those who are unable to be vaccinated due to medical reasons. Measles is a highly contagious respiratory illness with certain health risks, especially to unvaccinated individuals. But that's not what you said before, Mr. Kennedy. The virus spreads through direct contact with infectious droplets when an infected person breathes, coughs, or sneezes. It's like the script from COVID. So that's now. Suddenly he's supporting vaccinations and the MMR, where he was calling out and exposing it before. So that's now. This was Kennedy talking about the measles vaccine before he joined the Trump regime. Bit different.
If your kids were young now, would you give them the measles, the mumps vaccine?
No. I got measles, mumps when I was a kid. It was...
Lots of people used to die from those diseases.
Well, you know what? They died in the 1900s or early 1900s. There were about 10,000 Americans a year who died. In 1964, there was about 300 or 400 who died, and they were almost all severely malnourished kids, mainly from the Mississippi Delta. This was before the poverty program, so there was a lot of starving children in our country. It's very, very hard to kill a healthy child with any infectious disease, but particularly with measles. And the World Health Organization now says vitamin A is an absolute cure for measles, which we didn't know about back then. Back then, we were treated with chicken soup, and it was, a week at home watching Leave It to Beaver, and every kid caught it. Every single kid got it. And I had 11 brothers and sisters, and we all got it, and we were all fine. And there are lots and lots of studies out there now that show that kids who get measles as a child are much healthier when they grow up, that they're much more resistant to cancers, to atopic diseases, to allergies, and to heart disease.
It's amazing how people can just switch without any kind of sense of shame. But you weren't saying that before. And people were supporting you to get this job because of what you were saying before, and now you're doing this. But that's how politics works. Tell them what they want to hear and then do as you were going to do all along. And another thing about Kennedy this week is he's been promoting AI medicine, AI replacing like doctors and nurses in certain hospitals. And he wasn't saying that before either. But here he goes. AI is what we need for people's health.
And rural hospitals are closing at an extraordinary rate right now. They not only provide important health care for the localities, but also they're economic drivers for localities all over this country. President Trump is determined to end the hemorrhage of rural hospitals, and he's asked me to do that through use of AI, through telemedicine, which these are innovations that I saw the other day. A Cleveland clinic has developed an AI nurse that you cannot distinguish from a human being, that has diagnostics as good as any doctor. And we can provide concierge care to every American in this country, even those, the remote parts of Wyoming, Montana, Alaska, etc.
What he's describing is one aspect of this AI takeover. Remember, 2 days into the Trump administration, in the White House, Trump wheeled out Larry Ellison and Sam Altman, these big tech AI people, to announce up to $500 billion AI extravaganza. And part of that presentation was about using AI for healthcare. And the fact is, it's meant to happen right across human society. And the same Robert Kennedy used to warn about the dangers of the AI takeover. Here he is again, before he joined the Trump regime.
And that's the power right now that we're seeing. And with AI, with the growth of AI, the capacity of government to control us is, will be complete. Now, Bill Gates says one of his companies is putting up 61,000 low-altitude satellites to do Earth surveillance. He says that his company alone will be able to watch every square inch of the Earth at 24 hours a day. So, the capacity of people to escape that kind of surveillance and to live, free lives is going to be the power. What we're creating is this kind of turnkey totalitarianism. Mm-hmm. We're the next totalitarian regime that steps up and really wants to clamp things down. They're going to have all of these mechanisms in place like no regime has had in human history.
And there he is now as a member of the Trump government and the Musk government that is seeking to do everything he warned about there.